Let's not waste any time. Munin is coming soon to Brawlhalla, and I'm here to show off her SIGs. First up, we got the Scythe End SIG. Now, this is very reminiscent of Mordex's Scythe End SIG. You'll notice it's a quick slash up, a little bit of a jump, a quick little hop there. She's got a musical staff, and it hits about 1 to 1.5 jump height, which again is very similar to Mordex here. And it's pretty quick. You can't really react to that startup. You'll notice as we slow it down in future hits here, it also has an on-hit effect. She'll strum her little guitar there to release the blast. It's a little bit difficult to react to because the startup doesn't really distinguish itself too much from a normal jump, so you gotta be careful for that. It's quick enough that you can punish someone coming back to the stage with a bow recovery like that. It can punish someone jumping out of a soft sidelight into end sig, downlight into end sig. Both seem like very viable options. The one thing I do notice is that it doesn't seem to have the most amount of air drift. Maybe it cancels your momentum a little bit on use, so be a little bit careful about that, but Mordex end sig is one of the best sigs in the game, so Munin's got a hell of a sig going for her. Next up, we got the Scythe side sig. This is one of my favorites. I mean, just look at it. The effects are so cool. On all of her sigs, honestly, the art team outdid themselves this time. She does this quick little twirl, sends out a musical staff with her guitar scythe. Those all have a hitbox, or it has a continuous hitbox, I should say. Those quarter notes, those half notes, very, very cool. You will notice, though, that it doesn't have the most amount of active frames. You can dodge through it like that at the very end of it, but be careful because it can also be used as a dodge punish if your dodge isn't accurate. You'll notice right here, right as the dodge ends, the startup catches slightly above Munin like that. It's slightly behind as well. It looks pretty dangerous. GC will probably be a very good option. The Scythe down sig is very reminiscent of Ragnar's guitar down sig. You'll notice she does this quick little backflip, then sends out a little blast of musical notes, that staff once again, and it has a little bit of an extra explosion towards the end. That extra explosion does not come up when you use it off stage or with GC, but this version does spike, whereas the other one sends out this horizontal-ish angle, a bit of a diagonal. You'll see it later. As you're charging it, the animation is pretty distinct, as you can see right here, so it's not going to really fool anyone, which is totally fine. That charge animation is good to have pretty distinct because you don't want to confuse players, and this is what I was talking about. It sends out that horizontal-ish angle as opposed to a more vertical one off stage. It's very good for punishing dodges. It's a retreating signature, so like a retreating signature, you can punish attacks, punish dodges like that. This is the case with her other sigs too, but you'll notice that the active frames are not as long as that staff is active. As long as the orange is gone, it will no longer hit. So be very, very careful about that. You don't want to send it out and then think it's going to hit because the active frames are no longer there. The bright orange is what you want to look out for. Moving on to the bow now, we've got the bow end sig. It's a quick little upward hit, kind of reminiscent of maybe Vector, Koji, Jala. It's a mix of all three of those. Doesn't quite have the range of Vector or Koji, but it has the explosion of Jalas and hits upward as you'd expect. It suctions them in. What is interesting though is if you hit, well, this is towards the center of it, you'll notice slowed down. The staff while charging is not an active hitbox, but you'll notice that it also hits on the very edge of it. So you gotta be a little bit careful if you're trying to land on Munin. This might hit you if you don't expect it. And it is pretty quick. You'll notice this uncharged version is good at juggling. It may stop your momentum though, I'm not sure. They didn't use it on the dev stream out of a dash or out of a chase dodge at all, or not that I could find, so it was a little bit difficult to notice, but overall seems like a pretty strong move. You can use it out of a downlight to string, downlight into end sig, maybe catch a dodge. Sidelight, same thing if they dodge up. It doesn't seem extremely powerful because it doesn't hit grounded, but overall still a very strong move. Next up, we got the bow side sig, and just looking at it, this is bound to be so many people's favorite. It just looks so cool. You send out this staff, and then the music notes become the arrows that you shoot. It has grounded splash hitbox, as you can see right there. Yeah, I mean, it just looks super cool. And then on top of that, you'll notice if you're sending arrows downward, of course, they're gonna put in an aerial version as well. You can knock people off stage, which will be up next right here. Yep, very cool. It kind of guards the stage a little bit similar to how Ada's gun end sig would. You'll notice out of a GC, it's also gonna do the aerial version. And like Ada's gun end sig, only one of the hits needs to actually connect for it to spike downward. With Ada, it works on the ground where all three connect into each other, but off stage, only one of them needs to, just like that. You'll see right here. You can use it to catch someone trying to recover quickly, like that, interrupt their recovery with a lot of priority, and send them spiking downward. Now, one thing to note is this charge animation right here. Like all of the other staffs, when it's not orange, it doesn't have a hitbox, so the staff doesn't actually hit you. It's only the arrows. You can jump through the staff like that freely, not have to worry. Also, be careful, it doesn't have the most amount of active frames despite having an explosion, so you can spot dodge through the arrows like that. Now, one thing to note is it does actually have a unique offstage version when it hits the wall. It has that little explosion to the side there, and I believe it always hits in the same place after the first shot connects, so just know that you can have an active hitbox. Maybe someone tries to spot dodge, dodge in, dodge up into the wall. If you can read that, position it correctly, you'll be able to punish. Finally, we got the bow down sig, and this is absolutely the sleeper pick in her kit. It doesn't look as visually popping as the rest, although it is still very, very cool. It just doesn't have that huge staff. But, I mean, this move is killer. It has the grounded hitbox kind of similar to Mako's. You'll notice you send out some music notes, and those still connect. Then it has a stacked hitbox right below you as you jump up. That also connects. Very, very strong right off the bat here. Doesn't even need anything else, but it does have one other thing, which is that it also hits in the air. You'll notice as you're strumming outward, that also has a hitbox. I believe you'll notice these little arrows that come out of it. I think that's when it's active. It's quick enough that you can use it to punish an attack, punish a dodge. You also jump up into the air, so a sword downlight, for example, is just always going to lose to this move because you're hopping over it. That's a hurtbox manipulation tactic. And on top of that, it's on the bow, which having a stacked killing option on bow is so huge. Overall, it just seems extremely strong. The one drawback that I see, though, is that it doesn't have the most amount of active frames, and you're stuck in place for just a little bit. So you'll notice that dodge in right there is going to be able to avoid it. Despite having that huge range, it's only active for a couple frames, so you got to be pretty accurate with the timing. That's it though. I know this one was a little bit longer than usual. I'm sorry, I'm just very, very excited about Munin. They said they're aiming to release her next month, so very soon we'll be able to get first-hand experience. Very excited about that. Of course, I'm going to play her, going to release a couple videos on it. Gonna be fun. I'll see you then, and take care, everyone.